Hey yo guys, what's up and welcome back to Toe Tags Metal Reviews, and today we're going to be giving you guys our final review of Outstrider by Abbath. So after listening to this album for one entire week, I'm going to take the floor here and say this was a pretty damn good album. And it was a little bit weird though, because I didn't find myself really constantly driving myself into it. But every single time I put it on, I enjoyed it. I never got unhappy with the album, never got bored of it, tired of it. In terms of the songs, the biggest thing I noticed is that this album has a lot of different stuff going on. I feel like you'll have a song like Calm and Ire of Hurricane, the first track, which is a bit more atmospheric, maybe a little bit more emotion in it. But then you have a song like the last track, Pace Till Death, which is very thrashy and hard-hitting. And you get a really big mix of those elements throughout the album. That really keeps it spiced up. Another thing to mention, one of my favorite songs, and this is literally just for the beginning, is The Artifacts, which is track number 3. This drum lick catches me every time. It's actually so sick. It's just blazing, and then boom, we're right in, and it's really thrashy and just hard hitting. So cool.
You know, hearing you talk about this stuff and the way you're presenting your feelings and opinions on it, it's kind of making me question my own opinions, because for some reason, I was kind of bored of this album throughout the week. It started out pretty good. I had some pretty positive thoughts on it, but the more I listened to it, the more I just was not into it. And yeah, there's certain parts, like you mentioned, like the intro to Artifacts, or all of the different dynamics in the songs and the way that you have little elements of calm melodic stuff and then the thrashy in your face stuff. That does bring a lot of dynamics to the album, but for some reason it didn't speak to me on any certain level. It didn't appeal to me in that sense, where I didn't get the sense that I was listening to something that was so diverse and so creative. It felt very kind of one-dimensional to me for some reason.
That's interesting, because I feel like a lot of these songs have depth to them as well, and there's a bunch of things inside them that you kind of keep listening for and just finding new things. One thing to mention is in Pace Till Death, in the beginning you hear the riff starting, and then there's just a little nana nana boo boo that just happens.
About 12 seconds in, I thought that was funny too. It's just a little riff, sounds like a nana nana boo boo, and it only happens once in the song.
It's the only time, and it's so out of nowhere. And I remember hearing it when we first heard it, and I thought it was funny. I didn't mention it last week, but every time that song came on, I would wait for that at the beginning. I knew it was coming, and I was waiting for it.
Yeah, I did the same thing. That was actually kind of a humorous thing for me when that song came on, going, oh, here it comes. If you guys want to know what we're talking about, like I said, it's about 10 to 12 seconds into Pace Till Death, which is the last song on the album. That song, though, is probably one of my top songs on the album. Because I think I mentioned this in my first impressions. It reminds me of Hell Awaits from Slayer. It draws me back to that song, and I like that song. So I'm drawing a comparison there, parallel, and I just like it for that reason. But hey, I like it. Doesn't matter why I like it, I'm drawn to it. Other than that song though, I'd say Harvest Pyre, which was the first single, is my top song on this album. I think that's the song that has the most to offer me as far as just enjoyable content. And I don't think the rest of the album is bad. It just, nothing really stood out to me or really grabbed my attention and wowed me in any way. Harvest Pyre though, I did like enough to put on my playlist. So Outstrider as well, the title track, I thought was cool. That track has the most dynamic range as far as the intro being, acoustic melodic. Then it gets into the heavy stuff, finishes off with more acoustic melodic at the end. That obviously is dynamic and atmospheric in its own way. But for the rest of them, man, they all kind of just had their place, but didn't really speak to me on any certain level.
Another thing that kind of jumped out at me a little bit, just in regards to the title track, is the way it ends. It has that acoustic part at the ending, and I think Scythewinder being the next song after that really helps bring the energy back up because of how intense that song is and how quickly it gets there. Yeah. So I think that's a really good track placement there.
Yeah.
For that one to be after the title track. I feel like the title track is a really good bridge between the two halves of the album. And honestly, this album is just crazy. And Harvest Pyre was not my favorite song, but I think that song helped me enjoy the album more because when we first heard it, it sounded a bit more like classic kind of black metal. so we thought maybe that's what the album's gonna sound like, and then it threw something completely different at us, but I was really liking that it was different, and that made Harvest Pyre stand out even more as its own thing among the other tracks on the album.
So what was your favorite song then?
Honestly, it's tough. Like, I don't know, the artifacts, that drum thing catches me every time. Land of Chem was great. And honestly, like, there was a point where I said, oh, I'm gonna put on Outstrider. Ooh, let me start with this song. Wait, I really like this one. No, I wanna put on this one. Like, I couldn't decide which one I wanted to put on because they were all so great. It was tough.
Fair enough. Yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of just out of thoughts, really. Like, I really don't have anything negative to say at all, but I really also don't have anything positive to say. And the thing is, sometimes when I listen to an album, I kind of get a sense, and whether I'm right or wrong, this is just obviously like a subjective thing, but I kind of get a sense of how much passion went into the album. And this is regarding any music I listen to. And you kind of get a sense sometimes, and like I said, whether I'm right or wrong, I don't know, but I sense that this is one of those albums that was made just for the sake of making an album. I feel like there was not a lot of passion that went into this. I just didn't feel it, I didn't sense it. And that might sound crazy to some people, it might sound crazy to you guys, but this seems like to me like one of those albums where the record label was just like, hey Bob, we need you to put something out, come on, hurry yourself up. You know, so he just fucking whipped up some songs and went, okay, I'm probably wrong. I don't fucking know.
I mean,
it just seemed like it was just slapped together kind of thing.
If you consider moments like the Nana Nana Boo Boo and Pace Till Death, that's kind of a good example of the passion kind of being there. Like, here, let's mess around, let's have fun, let's enjoy it.
You can look at it that way, but you can also look at it at the opposite way, where they throw something like that in and go, yeah, whatever, just leave it. We'll just throw it in there and leave it. It's something. But if they really thought about it and went, that actually sounds kind of silly, maybe we should take that out or beef it up or change it or add it somewhere else in the song so it's not just a sore thumb that sticks out. I'm not saying it's a bad part, it just seems like a weird addition.
I just think kind of like from a musician's, perspective, if you look at it that way, it's more so like just messing around with the music. And musicians do that all the time.
Of course they do that all the time. I don't know, you can look at it multiple different ways, right? It's all about how you interpret it. They could have meant to do it, they could have put so much love and passion and joy into this. And maybe I'm just looking at it the wrong way or getting the wrong vibe from it. I don't know. Like I said, it's all subjective, but I just didn't get a real passionate vibe from this. And I don't know, maybe for that reason, it was hard to really get into it and soak it in. Obviously you had a different experience and you did feel that, but I don't know, it was just, I was having a real hard time vibing with the album.
All right.
I liked it though. I was driving to it when I was listening to it. There was nothing wrong with it, but I was never really eager or keen to put it on and like crank it up or anything like that.
Well, with that being said, I think it's a good time now to get to ratings. So, Vile, what do you rate this album?
You know, it is an enjoyable album for the most part. Like I said, there's nothing bad, there's nothing really negative I can say about it other than my own weird subjective opinions that might not make any sense to you guys. But for me, it still falls a little bit short, even of middle of the pack. So I think I'm gonna give this one a 4, which is kind of a salty score, but I really don't know how to justify anything higher than that, really. It's got a couple decent songs on it, nothing I would write home about, but it's not exactly abysmally bad or anything like that. So I think a 4 is a decent score for me anyway.
All right, interesting. In my case, I loved this album throughout the whole week. Every time I put it on, I just enjoyed it front to back, and it was great. I mean, it's pretty clear it gets my toe tag because it was just such a sick album. And we have such a drastic change in opinion here, how you're, giving it a 4 and I give it a toe tag. But hey, I mean, your opinions are your own, mine are my own. I thought this album was totally awesome.
I gotta say, I think that's the widest spread of score we've ever had on an album.
Yeah,
usually when one of us gives a toe tag, the other one's like a 7 or a 7.5 and very close. But man, I just wasn't feeling it, dude. Like, I don't know, man.
You never know. I mean,
I did listen to it a lot too. Like, I didn't just sprinkle it here and there. Like, I really tried to give this one a chance and dive into it, but the more I listened to it, the less I liked it.
Maybe it even goes past a week. Maybe in 5 months from now, you might come back to this album and realize that it's amazing for you.
And I will. Towards the end of the year, when we do our end of year video, I will listen to this again, probably multiple times, to try to regain my thoughts and feelings. And maybe at that time, I might have a completely different perspective.
Who knows? Anyway, guys, a toe tag from me, a 4 from Vile. That's a pretty big difference. But anyway, that's all we got for you guys today. Remember to like the video if you like it. Comment, tell us below in the comments if you liked it as much as me, if you didn't like it as much with Vile, whatever. We just love hearing your guys' opinions. Like the video, subscribe if you guys are new to the channel. I'm TV Fish.
I'm Vile Self.
And we'll see you guys later.